one is industry. Right? Imagine you only dream. If a person or leader has only dreams but no skill to convert the dream into reality, do you think it is useful? You have brilliant ideas but no power and potential and skill to implement it. People will call you, those people who only see dreams, they are called as what? Dreamers. They only talk but no practical knowledge. And so, writing down one quotation from Thomas Alva Edison. You know Thomas Alva Edison?
Yes.
Who is Thomas Alva Edison? Thomas Edison, who invented electricity bulb? No? This is what he said. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. 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 Thomas Alva Edison says that a genius is 1% inspiration. You understand inspiration? Those who have ideas, those who have an enlightened knowledge. So 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. What do you mean by perspiration? Sweat. Perspiration means what? Sweat. So 1% inspiration, 1% is your brain, but 99% hard work, sweat. Who's saying that? Thomas Alva Edison. Right? And so, John Stott is telling that a leader should be industrious. What do you mean by industrious? Industrious means working hard to make the vision into reality. Okay, keep writing. What did John Stott said? John Stott said that a leader should be industrious, converting the vision into reality. Industrious means hard working person. Right?
So, what was it again? Working hard.
I already repeated twice. Keep listening carefully. Don't ask and don't expect that I will tell you, then only you will write. I will repeat third time now. Okay? John Stott says that a leader should be industrious, hard working, not hardly working. A leader should be industrious, hard working, industrious, hard working, translating dreams into reality. First up, thus dream and the reality, passion and practicalities, thus dream and the reality, passion and practicalities, must go together. First up, without the dream, The campaign, campaign, campaign. What do you mean by campaign? The project which you take, the task which you take. The campaign loses its direction and its fire. Loses its direction and its fire. Without the dream, the campaign loses its direction and its fire. But without hard work and practical projects, the dream vanishes into thin air. The dream vanishes into thin air. Without the dream, the campaign loses its direction and its fire. But without hard work and practical projects, the dream vanishes into thin air. You want me to repeat it? Without the dream, the campaign loses its direction and its fire, but without hard work and practical projects, what happens? The dream vanishes into thin air. Okay? You need dreams to give direction, but you also need skill to convert your dream into practical projects, to convert into reality. And that's why a leader should be industrious. You have ideas, but convert it into practical projects. Okay? Convert it into practicalities. And that's why it is important. A leader should be industrious. Next line, example. God had a dream for Israelites. God had a dream for Israelites because he was angry to see the Israelites into bondage. To see the Israelites in bondage, not into, in bondage. So, he dreamed of a promised land. He dreamed of a promised land, capital P and L, promised land. Promised land. He dreamed of a promised land, and through hard work and patience, enabled the Israelites to possess it. Enabled the Israelites to possess it. Stop. God was the leader. God was the leader who was leading them through the dangers and hardships. Through the dangers and hardships. Okay? Are you getting it? You agree? God was a leader. He had the dream. He got angry with the bondage to see Israelites in the bondage, and so he planned taking them to a promised land, and he was taking them. Now you tell me theologically, to take the Israelites through that through that desert, was it the plan of God? Was it the original plan of God? Theologically, come on, show your biblical knowledge. Why God took them through desert? Why not He took the shortcut? He wanted to train His people in what? failure and hardship, okay? What else? How did the Israelites reacted? Why he wanted to, he took them through that desert to teach what? In Deuteronomy it says that, I want to teach you what? Humility, dependence. And that's why I'm taking you through this long route. Were the Israelites happy when they were traveling through the desert? Were they happy? Why not? What was their problem? How do you know that they were not happy? They were always grumbling. They were PhDs in grumbling. You give them manna, they will grumble. You give them water, they will grumble. You give them this, they will grumble. They were thinking that we were better slaves there, but we don't want this. Okay? But it was the plan of the leader that let my people go through this difficult lesson. And so they entered into the promised land. Even entering into the promised land, they had challenges. They had Jordan to cover. They had Jericho to conquer. And so that was the plan of God. Do you think God is a good leader? Not taking them through shortcuts and putting all the problems, tensions, difficulties. If we think that if we don't have problems, difficulty, we will be a better leader. Do you think? Come on. Do you think? Leadership can be proved in the AC rooms? No, leadership can be proved in the deserts. When you have people, difficult, very difficult. What is written about Israelites? They were stiff-necked people. Isn't it? They don't think, they don't, really obey. And God was patient and He took them to the promised land. So probably, whenever you are given a project to achieve something best, you have to sacrifice something good. Did you hear me? Whenever you take a project to achieve something best, you have to sacrifice something good. You want to be good or best? Best. To achieve best result, you have to sacrifice good sleep. Agree? No? No? Toppers are made in the beds. Did you hear me properly? To achieve good result, best result, you have to probably sacrifice something that is good. Okay? Because that's what we want to achieve, something best. I've never seen people sleeping nicely and still winning the battles. Friends, in my years of ministry, let me share. In my years of ministry, if doing ministry, if you are still happy, satisfied and nicely enjoying, I doubt whether you are doing ministry. It should be full of tension, hardship, danger, close to death experience. Okay? It should take away your sleep. And then when I call you after 10 years, it is difficult, I will say, well done. You are doing a ministry. But if somebody is saying, अरे मजे में, आराम से चल रहा है, बढ़िया चल रहा है, that is not ministry, that is masti. Understand? Ministry is hard work. Do you think ministry is hard work? Or it should be relaxed? It is hard work. Okay?
Why we can say the ministry only will suffer and
Huh?
why we can say that the ministry will be suffer and hard work and suffering going through the problem? Why God allow this?
Yeah, that's good. That's the way we are trained for.
What I mean is a person who is like enjoy. Why you can say that he is not doing ministry?
Yeah, because when you lead people, the people will give you tension as a dowry. Are you getting? You will be leading people where people will have arguments, where people have this. When God was leading them through the promised land, God had the tough time leading the Israelites. Yes or no? Yes. Moses had the tough time. We'll be looking at the Old Testament, isn't it? They had tough times. When you see the life of Joseph going through hardship and all, well, it was all planned. And later on he became. There is no Christianity without cross, brother. Okay? And so I don't believe in prosperity gospel. Bishops driving Audi cars with 40 lakhs and the worker in the field is getting only 1500 salary, unacceptable to me. Agree? His son does nothing, still driving duster car. And look at the salary of the missionaries. And if bishop talks about, ministry is enjoyable and this is, yes, it is enjoyable for you, but not the person who is working under you. Are you getting? Right? We are not meant for luxuries. Are you getting? Whether you agree with me or not, we are not meant. Yes, decent life, enough. But not. There is a one who is I don't want to take a big Pentecostal organization. He is the treasurer of the organization. Okay, he has a house of 150 crores. I'm talking about that, and I'm talking about this kind of ministry is not acceptable. Regarding this kind of ministry is not acceptable. Yes, the payment which you are getting, you buy Harley Davidson, I have no problem, but not from the church money. You buy Audi cars from your loan or personal money and all these things, no problem at all. That's your hard work. I'm not denying that you should not be wearing branded clothes and all, but then it should be from your hard work. Okay? Don't give hints in your prayer. You understand hints? Lord, I need shirt, but I know you will move the hearts of the people and that kind of thing. And then immediately somebody will get up. Pastor, take this shirt. Praise the Lord. Why pastor should always receive? Why pastor doesn't give? Let me give you one brand. Louis Philippe shirt to winners. Why pastors are not doing it? I'm talking about from that sense. Okay, agree? Right? I don't believe in prosperity gospel. Yes, we should have it, but it is all hard work. All hard work. You can buy. I want to see you driving Harley Davidson. No problem. Hard work. I saved 10 years of my savings. I want to drive this. Very good. But don't take it as a gift. Okay? That is not acceptable.
How was like if someone gives
I have fought a good fight. Amen. Now that's what we are looking forward. Right? We are what? Soldiers of Christ. Imagine soldier, fear of the bullets. What man? What you will fight? Right? We are not. Okay, that's what perseverance. Whenever there is an opposition, expect opposition. Expect setbacks. Expect hardship. Okay? That's what. And then persevere. Don't think that I thought that ministry will be very enjoyable. No. When I graduated, my pastor did not allow me to preach a single sermon for the whole year. Problem started from there itself. You're getting, don't think that the church is waiting for you, come. And then we are, no. It is hard work. Right? There will be discouragements. We'll be looking at the biblical leaders. How they faced oppositions, biblical, hardship and all. Fourth one is service. 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 Okay. Read someone Philippians 2:4. Philippians 2:4. I'll be giving you notes, okay? So don't worry. Philippians 2:4. My brother was asking for the notes yesterday. So I'll give you. Philippians 2:4. Read.
Let each of you look out not only for his own interest, but also for the interest of others.
Let us not look out for our own interest, but what? But the interest of others. Okay? Right? Others are important. In the ministry, create space, as Dr. Howard was preaching. Create space for others. Are you getting? Doesn't matter whether you like it or not, but for the sake of others. Others like it. So we will do it. Okay? So that's the meaning of service. By the way, what do you mean by service? Serve. The girls also speak. I don't hear their voice. They only sing.
They are in the intertestamental period.
Intertestament, 400 years of silence. He is looking at you. Man, you will have a tough time during tea time. Stone him, okay? Alright. Service. What comes in your mind? I am the servant of God. Means what?
Service of God.
Yeah, but then what? Service. Steward, okay. What else? Ranjit, what comes in your mind? Service. Think about it. Doing something that is good for others. Then you are serving them. And what do you mean by then? Ministry and service and all. Like imagine, somebody washing your feet and then kicking also. So how do you? Is it a good service? No. Service. John Stott says that service is not an act, but it is what? A person's identity. It is not an act, but it is one's own identity. What do you mean by that? Why we want to serve? Now you answer me. Why we want to serve? Come on. Why you want to serve? Because of what? Interest. Okay? Why you want to serve? We are servants. That is enough. That's what John Stott says, that it is not a person doing some noble work, but it is the identity. The person is serving others because he or she is servant. And what is the job of a servant? So concentrate, John Stott is telling, concentrate on becoming a servant rather than doing a servant. What's the meaning of that? Concentrate on becoming a servant, not only doing a servant. Means what? Yes, concentrate on the identity. Every day becoming a servant. And once we become a servant, service will be very easy. Serving others will be very easy. We need not to tell. Okay? Why? Because the job of a servant is, Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, it says that for your sake we are what? Servants. That's the identity he is talking about. Are you getting? So concentrate on becoming a servant rather than doing a servant. Did you write that? Okay. And we have already read Philippians 2:4. What's the meaning of that? Philippians 2:4 says that a servant who is looking for the interest of others and not seeking his or her own interest. I'll be sharing this notes, so that's the thing. What is happening in John chapter 13? Do you know that John chapter 13? Jesus washing the feet of the disciples, isn't it? And it says that, read from 15 verse onwards, 13, 15, 16 and 17. John 13, 15 to 17. Yes, read someone.
For I have given you an example.
I have given you an example
That you should do.
that you should do.
As I have done to you.
Hmm.
Most assuredly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is he who is sent greater than he who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do.
Yes, right? Philippians chapter 1, what is that? Kenosis theory, chapter 2, verse 9 to 11. There's a Greek word kenosis. Do you know this word?
Yes.
Huh? What do you mean by kenosis? Kenosis is becoming a slave. Kenosis. Okay, read. Chapter 2, verse 9.
Therefore, what also has highly exalted
No, before that. Verse 5, I think.
that this might be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being the form of God did not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no revelation, taking the form of a bond servant, and coming in the likeness of man.
Yes, becoming what? What's your version says? Becoming a bond servant. Though he was in the form of God, he was highly exalted, he became. The process is what? On becoming. And the fifth one is discipline. Discipline. Number one is what? Vision. Second is what?
Industry.
Second is what? Industry. Third one is what? Perseverance. Fourth? Service. And fifth is discipline. Write it down. The final mark of leaders seeking to follow Christ, leaders seeking to follow Christ is discipline, comma, not only self-discipline in general, not only self-discipline in general, in bracket you write, in the master of their passions, in bracket you write, in the master of their passions, comma, their time and their energies. Bracket complete. In the master of their passions, comma, their time, comma, their energies. Bracket complete. But in particular, the discipline with which they wait on God. They wait on God. Full stop. They know their weaknesses. They know their weaknesses. And so, with God's strength and personal discipline, did you miss it, Stephen? You're not writing, man.
It's not first training.
Personal discipline. This is not writing. They know their weaknesses and they work on those weaknesses by God's strength and personal discipline. Okay? Right. What do you mean by discipline, by the way? We talk about so much of rules, regulation, discipline. What do you mean by that? Discipline. Come on. Discipline? Discipline means you do certain things regularly. We call it what? Discipline. You do certain things regularly to fulfill your goals. You do certain things regularly to fulfill your goals. Right? That's the meaning of what? Discipline. Okay? In the next class, we will discuss about this, and then we also will talk about some of the most important elements of Christian leadership. Right? We were discussing about it, how to go about it, and then immediately we will start, if time is there, or else tomorrow, New Testament, Old Testament and New Testament leaders. That will be an exciting journey. And we will start with Joseph. So in your personal reading, read the life of Joseph. And we'll see how this young man came out to be a fantastic leader. Alright?